Everyone wants pleasure and comfort and avoids suffering. They say they like being wealthy, but they don't like being poor. I really despise poverty. No matter who you ask, if you went around and surveyed everyone, you'd find they all want to be well off. Hey, being well off doesn't mean being rich in money. You know, that is absolutely true. People want to live comfortably in life to be well off. They want to live calmly and peacefully. That is the kind of prosperity I'm talking about. So true. Being rich in money doesn't mean you have peace of mind. That is a whole different thing. Absolutely right. Yeah. So that is why in Burmese the meaning kind of gets mixed together. If you say rich, people tend to think it means someone with money. But that is not what I am talking about. Absolutely right. Living peacefully and comfortably according to your own station in life. That is what we call true peace of mind. No matter how much money you have, you are only truly rich if you have peace of mind. They've invested tens of thousands, no hundreds of thousands in money. I am always worried that one of those businesses might accidentally fail. See, a financially wealthy person is always afraid of losing that money. That is so true, my Lord. That is not real wealth. Being rich in money isn't real wealth. Real, true wealth isn't about that kind of thing, you know. In family life, no matter what you have or how you live, it means being able to live with all your basic needs met, without shortage or excess, without stress or trouble, just calmly, peacefully, and comfortably. So yeah, everybody wants to be well off. Those folks we just talked about who are out there making money, they're doing it because they want to be rich. Yeah, that is why they're out there looking for it. I want to be rich. But even though they went searching because they wanted to be rich, really wanted to be rich, when you ask if they actually found wealth, well, it wasn't riches they found. Instead, they ran into all kinds of poverty and hardship. That is so true, my Lord. Yeah, so that is why peace of mind and material wealth aren't the same thing. Back in the time of the Blessed Buddha, the Sakyans took turns. If we put it in modern terms, when a single ethnic group rules under a one-party system, that is what they called the Oga system. The monarch system means a single king rules, and then his descendants continue to rule after him. They call it the Manch system. During the Buddha's time, kings like Bimbisara and Kosala ruled under that system. Their sons and grandsons went on to rule as kings. The Sakyans, who were the Buddha's own clan, over there in Visali, the Likavis, and in the place where the Buddha passed into Parinibbana, the Mala region with its Mala kings. Those kinds of arrangements are what is called an oligarchic system. In today's terms, you could say it is like one party ruling over everything. That is exactly right, Lord. It is basically a system where one ethnic group comes together and rules collectively. These days it is kind of similar to the Republicans, you know. But it wasn't something decided by a vote. It came from within their own ethnic group, you know. They formed a group and then took turns. If you put it in modern terms, it is like a rotating chairperson, kind of like having a rotating president. Yeah, and then among those Sakya princes, when it came around in turn, Bhadia, the one serving as chairman, his friend Anuruddha insisted, really pulled him along and told him he should put on the monk's robe. In the end, because of his friendship with his buddy, he gave up his position as the elected chairman, and he is the one who ended up putting on the monk's robe. They all put on the monk's robes together. Back then, Anuruddha, Bhadia, Ananda, Bhagu, and Devadatta, they all joined the same group and took up the monk's robes together. And among them, it was Bhadia who he gave up his current position and then took up the monk's robe. From the time he practiced the teachings of the Blessed One, gained true understanding of the Dhamma, and attained arahantship, when he was alone, his lips would often move. He would sit quietly and speak in a soft, gentle voice. And what would he say? Aho Sukhan, Aho Sukhan. So peaceful, so peaceful. Back when he still had power, he didn't want to live this kind of life. The only life he enjoyed was the one where he ruled over the whole country. He didn't want the life of a monk. But once he came to understand the Dhamma, his whole outlook changed. After that change, what did he say? Oh, I feel so peaceful, so peaceful. I think what came into his mind sank even deeper, right? Absolutely, sir. Only now do I truly feel at peace. I let go of everything. After letting go, I became a monk. And when I gained insight into the Dhamma, that is when I truly found peace. The people around would say, oh, D.H., this monk is always talking about how peaceful it is, how peaceful it is. Back when you were living an ordinary life, were you hoping for wealth and then just complaining about how rich he was? The people around thought maybe he was trying to get it back, or maybe he was just feeling nostalgic. Yes, Lord, that is exactly right. Whenever they started thinking that way, they would go and report it to the Blessed One. No matter where Bhadia was, he kept saying, how wonderful. How wonderful. When asked what he meant by that, the Buddha called him over to clarify. Wait a moment, Bhadia. When you keep saying how peaceful, over and over, what exactly do you mean? My Lord, your disciple. Back when I was serving as king of the country and holding the highest official position at the same time, even with all the guards posted around, Lord, I still couldn't get a good night's sleep. I had to stay alert all the time. I kept wondering who might come and cause trouble for me. I was constantly worried. I wondered if those who disliked me would come to harm me. I couldn't trust anyone at all, even the people right beside me. I didn't trust them. I even got to the point where I didn't trust my own bodyguard. Back then, I was fearful and anxious, and I couldn't sleep well. It was a life of constant vigilance. Now, I don't have to be afraid of anyone anymore. No matter where I am, Lord, there is absolutely no danger. Now that I am free, the peace, the real peace is. This is true bliss of liberation, completely free from everything. My mind is free too. There is nothing left to cling to. Only now do I feel completely, totally free and at peace, truly at peace. This happiness, I found what I mean is, it is because I've caught up. So I said, I am happy, happy. So is the mindset of someone who has attained Dhamma insight not much different from before they attained it? It is different, Lord. Before I understood, I thought this was just terribly boring. Really boring. Absolutely true, venerable. Leaving behind family life and going off into the forests and mountains to practice the Dhamma is no easy thing. Before I understood the Dhamma, I saw it as nothing more than a really dull, tedious task. To gain insight into the Dhamma and experience the bliss of detachment. Now that mindset of someone who truly understands the Dhamma is truly remarkable. This isn't a basic principle anymore. It has become quite an advanced one now. Absolutely true, Lord. Reaching this level isn't easy for everyone. Not everyone can do it. So, if you're asking what it means to have basic understanding, well, it is that moral discipline we just talked about. By moral discipline, I mean restraint from sensual pleasures. Everyone values happiness. They all want to be happy. They dislike misery and hardship. They fear poverty. This is a truth that applies to everyone. So if that is the case, why do people cause others to suffer just so they themselves can be happy? This is something you have to understand through the truth. Awareness, that is exactly what it means. Absolutely right, Lord. I want to be happy. I hate suffering. If I am already happy, then why would I want to do a job I don't even like? See, the Blessed One said we should think about it. This is what they call knowing the Dhamma. This understanding of the Dhamma is just basic knowledge. All right, in the Buddha's noble practices, it all starts with morality. So why is it that the Blessed One said, no matter who you are, if you are going to walk the right path, what is it that you have to start with first? They say there are two things at the very beginning of virtuous deeds. One is moral conduct. The very first of the virtuous principles is moral conduct. Number one is right view. Let's start with these two. They say you have to be able to see the truth. The monk named Bahiya, this Bahiya, that is not Bahiya Darusiriya. It is another Bahiya. The Blessed One said, therefore, Bahiya, first establish yourself firmly in concentration, and then devote yourself to skillful qualities in the Dhamma. Bahiya, if you want to walk the right path, you've got to fully carry out the very beginning of the wholesome teachings. So what is the very beginning of wholesome qualities? What is the starting point of virtuous teachings? Perfectly pure moral conduct, completely free from any stain. You've got to keep your conduct pure. That is number one. Absolutely right, Lord. And then right view, yeah, you got to have the right view, you know. These two are really the very beginning of all wholesome virtues. If these two virtues, these two are missing, you can't even begin to develop wholesome qualities in your own life. Wholesome qualities start with these two. All right, so the Blessed One taught this, since it all starts with moral conduct. By moral conduct, I mean, as everyone already knows, the important thing is that put mental misconduct aside. If we look at how we interact with others, there is physical misconduct and verbal misconduct. 4 kinds of bodily misconduct, 3 kinds of bodily misconduct, and 4 kinds of verbal misconduct. All of those 7 kinds. If we're talking about the basic level, the 3 kinds of physical misconduct are taking another person's life, taking what belongs to others, stealing or unlawfully taking their possessions. Sexual misconduct, engaging in sexual behavior in a completely wrong way, as they say. This is what is called the 3 kinds of bodily misconduct. That kind of bodily misconduct, you got to look at it with the right understanding, with mindfulness, really think it through. With mindfulness and careful reflection, it means you should reject these bodily misdeeds and instead practice wholesome bodily conduct. The Blessed One has given us the way of thinking and the method of reflection. Try thinking with a sense of empathy. If I think about the precepts, I realize I am afraid of dying. Everyone is afraid of dying. That is for sure. So true, Lord. He is really scared of dying. He still doesn't want to die. I don't want to die. I want to live. All living beings don't want to die. They all want to keep living. They want to live a long life. That is why when someone makes a wish or offers a blessing, they'll say, may you live a long life, may you be healthy, and give that kind of blessing. No one ever says, may your life be short. That is so true, Lord. May you live a long life. Everyone wants to live a long life. This is what people want, what I want too. I cherish being alive. I hate death. Some people talk about death like it is bad luck, and I don't even want to hear that kind of talk. When someone starts talking about death, even when there is no sign or omen at all, they still go ahead and say it. So true, Lord. When you come back from a funeral, you still have to wash your head with a candle flame. It is just that I ended up thinking the wrong way. You know, that is really true, Lord. If you truly understand the Dhamma, think about whether you really need to do these things or not. So true, Lord. People who think that going to a funeral means you are being compassionate. Well, about that, I took note of it. But inside my heart, greed, anger, delusion, the enemies are all still here, Lord. So true. Not washing away the enemy, but just washing your head. Doing it the wrong way, that is so true, Lord. Just because your head is clean doesn't mean the greed, anger, and delusion inside you are clean too. Purify yourself, Lord. So when you see a corpse, think to yourself, oh, one day I'll die too. That is what the Blessed One taught. So true, Lord. Thinking like that while I am still alive, I should know I must focus on doing something good. Just now, that was me thinking the wrong way. Thinking wrong, and at the same time doing wrong. What do you call that again? Oh, right, that is called ignorance. Delusion isn't just what is written in books. No, it is not the kind of delusion you read about. True delusion is when you yourself don't know the truth. So true, Lord. Not knowing the truth means you are knowing something wrong. So when you go to a funeral house, if there is no sign or omen, you just head back. But then you start thinking maybe it is about showing respect, like washing your head or doing something with a candle or whatever it is you are supposed to do. See, if I really have to wash it, it just depends on how I feel. It has got to be kept perfectly clean. So if you are doing it wrong, of course, it is not going to work, right? If you keep doing it wrong, it is not going to work. All right, good. Don't think the wrong way. You've got to think correctly. Oh, he wants to live. He doesn't want to die. I want to live too. I don't want to die. So if I want to live and not die, but I end up killing someone else, would that be justified? No, it wouldn't be, Lord. Now, the Blessed One thinking in this way, that is what is called false reasoning. Absolutely right, Lord. I want to live. If I want to live, then why should I have to kill others? In short, I was still thinking with the wrong kind of thoughts. Yeah, a living being is something beyond human control. If a living being is beyond human control, then I guess I am a living being too. If I come to restrain you, who would you even be with? I really couldn't bear it, Lord. If it were me being restrained, it'd be so unfair. Well, those guys, I just want to let them go. Oh, so this little creature ended up being killed. He was terrified, really panicked, and deeply miserable, and then he died. Do you think he could reach a good rebirth? No, that is not possible, Lord. His very last thoughts were filled with fear and worry, then anger and resentment toward the one who killed him. And that is how he died. Every single person who has been killed, each one is truly innocent, Lord. Cows, animals, too just because they can't talk. If you come to kill them, who would ever want that? Nobody would want that, right? That is so true, Lord. They just can't speak. That is all. Not wanting to suffer is the same. Being afraid of dying is the same. If you think about killing it, look, I am afraid of dying. I want to live. This little creature is also afraid of dying. It also wants to live. Why should I make others do work I don't even like myself? Well, that is what is called moral awareness. That is what awareness really means. Being allowed to do good deeds thanks to the Lord's grace. I can't even tell anymore if it is merit or demerit. Really, when it is my own skin at risk, I get really scared. So that is what we mean by awareness. The teachings of the Blessed One are truly the genuine Dhamma, exactly as the Dhamma should be. Isn't that right? Yes, indeed, Venerable Sir. If you don't follow this teaching, then it is unjust, if you really stop and think about it. When we say something's unfair, it can mean you are being inconsiderate toward others. Yeah, you could put it that way. The Dhamma is truly fair, real fairness. That is not a fair mindset. For me, I want to live, but if he has to die, well, that is just a really unfair attitude. That is what you call right thinking. Without right thinking, there is no way you can have right understanding. So if I put it into words, this is basically Samdhihai and Samsakappa, meaning right thought, right? That is absolutely correct. Venerable Sir, this is what is called true understanding. With the right understanding, the Blessed One then. As for matters related to the precept against taking life, from these three perspectives, these three approaches, you have to think it through carefully. And the reason is, I myself also have to avoid killing. We also need to encourage others to avoid it. They say you also have to talk about the benefits of avoiding killing. That is called Tikoti Parisuddha. From all three angles, on all three levels, this precept of refraining from killing is pure. Besides not doing it myself. I don't do it myself, but there are still people who go around telling others not to do it. Me? Well, I am scared of hell, so I don't do it. But others are already falling into that trap, like in that story. Kind of like a monk, you know. One monk said he saw a snake. When a lay devotee came by, the monk said, snake. Yeah, if this snake bites you, you could die, you know. Its venom is really strong. The layman didn't understand. That snake bite can kill you. He didn't just say it once, he repeated it 2-3 times. The monk himself didn't actually strike that snake, is that right? Yes, indeed, Venerable Sir. But deep down, he really wanted to hit it. If this creature bites you, it'll cause you trouble. A bite from it can kill you. They say it is really venomous. That layman who understood grabbed it and wham, hit it hard. And only then it calmed down. So they said, well, that is just how it is. So basically they're just praising this action, nothing out of the ordinary, right? Absolutely true, sir. Oh, so that is why the Blessed One said that if wrongdoing is involved, the 10 kinds of wrongdoing are multiplied in 4 different ways. You yourself must not do it either. And you are not supposed to praise it either. And you are not supposed to urge others to do it either. And you are not supposed to share the same mindset either, they say. Doing it yourself, urging, praising, agreeing, yeah, that is what they say. If you take 10 bad deeds and multiply them by these 4 factors, they say it becomes 40 bad deeds. Same thing, nothing special. Some people avoid the wrongdoing itself, but in that situation they don't actually do it themselves. Did you personally encourage them? Doing it yourself, encouraging it, praising it, agreeing with it. Just now, yeah, we were totally on the same page. Nothing unusual at all. Absolutely true, sir. Yeah, so that is how it is. It turns out we're on the same wavelength now. So then, take a look. The Blessed One said that in this sutta, we must keep ourselves completely free from those 3 perspectives we just talked about. You have to keep yourself completely free from all 3 aspects, all 3 angles. You yourself should avoid killing with this mindset, and you should also encourage others to avoid it. We should praise them. The part about empathy, well, that is the only thing missing. Yes, we should give praise. If you praise them, the sense of empathy comes along with it too, right? Isn't that so? Absolutely true, my Lord. It is one of the three kinds. In the same way, we should think about the other remaining misdeeds like this too. Taking what hasn't been given. If someone takes your belongings without you giving them, whether by tricking you, coaxing you, or manipulating you, no matter what method they use to get them, it is not stealing and it is not robbery. If someone tricks or manipulates their way into taking your stuff, you really can't stand it. This is just, I don't like it. Oh, I really don't like it, but there are still people out there who can pull tricks like that to take other people's stuff. Let's just say, if you claim something real is fake and go ahead with it, that is just straight up cheating. Nothing surprising about it. Absolutely true, sir. They tell you something's the real deal, but then hand you a big fake instead. These days it is just everywhere. The really scary thing is fake medicine. Selling fake medicine to unsuspecting people, claiming it is the real thing. Stuff like that is really, really scary. It can also cause harm to others. Compared to faking other products, faking medicine can actually put lives in danger. The bad part is, well, it is honestly true. So then, the kinds of things that can end up being harmful or useless to others. Oh, taking what isn't given. If someone tricks me and takes my belongings, takes something I didn't give them, yeah, I don't like that. Why would I do to others something I don't even like myself? You gotta think for yourself. I don't like it when someone takes my stuff without asking. If you ask why others shouldn't do things I don't like, well, it is because of this idea of avoiding what is called adinada. And that is what we call moral awareness. This basic level of awareness, you really need to have it. Absolutely true, my Lord. This isn't just for adults. Young people should have this awareness too. Adults should have it, and those in between should have it as well. By doing that, one avoids adinada themselves and also encourages others to steer clear of it. They also speak highly of and praise the benefits of avoiding it. Yes, they praise it. It should be like this. When it comes to sexual misconduct and false speech, it is the same thing. If someone came into my family and tried to mess around with sexual matters, I sure wouldn't like it. Nobody likes that. So if it is something I don't like and other people go ahead and do exactly what I don't like, that is just not fair, right? Totally true. Knowing that something is unfair and also knowing it should be made right, that is what you call a sense of justice. Yes, a sense of justice. Oh, why should other people have to do something I don't like? I don't like it. And if I don't like it, others won't like it either. Thinking about why I should do something that others don't like, I realized it is actually one of the wrong forms of livelihood. I avoid it myself, and I also tell others, hey, don't do it. They praise someone who doesn't do it. Wow, this person is really capable, really good, and so they praise them. Now, looking at it from all three angles, when it comes to sexual misconduct and false speech, he is completely pure, totally complete. Well, I am still keeping my distance, but I am still encouraging others, still have that little feeling of admiration, That means it is not complete yet. I'd have to say it is not fully there. So true, my Lord. If this is about physical misconduct, then you need to understand it this way. And then when it comes to verbal misconduct, if someone lies to me, twists the truth to cheat me, ruins my interests, or spreads false stories, well, that is really hard for me to accept. I don't like it. So if I don't like it, why should I do it to others? I shouldn't. You should think that if it is something you don't like, you shouldn't make others do it either. Thinking that way, you also need to avoid lying. You shouldn't cheat or manipulate others in a way that harms their rights or benefits. I don't do it myself either. I also encourage others not to do it, and those who don't are praised as decent, virtuous people. See, they practice keeping themselves pure from three different angles. And the next one, what was it again? Oh, right, pisunawasa. Pisunawasa means getting involved to make two people fall out, stirring up trouble, instigating, trying to turn them against each other. Exactly right, sir. If two people are getting along well, someone will go and drop a little hint, stir things up, just to make them stop meeting or stop getting along. There is a short story in the Dhammapada. Let's just say the two senior monks were about the same age, neither older nor younger than the other. One was a little smaller and the other was bigger. The two of them were really close, like real brothers. They're close like brothers. These two were always together, so they became very close. The younger one really respected the older one, and the older one also respected the younger one. They respected each other like this, and both had a really good attitude toward one another. They were spending the Buddhist Lent at a monastery in the forest. At that forest monastery, a Dhamma teacher monk arrived, that monk who came. When these two venerable monks arrived at the monastery, the senior monks also wanted to listen to the sermon, because a Dhamma teacher is someone who can give a sermon. And when they do, since they are skilled Dhamma speakers, people really admire them and hold them in high regard. Stay together with my lords. When there is a sermon to be given, they have him speak, and people listen and grow to value the teachings. But that Dhamma preacher didn't really have a good heart. I don't have any understanding of the Dhamma. Even when others give a sermon, I still don't get it. Because of that, the layman and laywoman began to feel sympathy for the Dhamma preacher. So what happened to that Dhamma preacher was, after those two venerable monks drove him out, he got it into his head to take over the monastery for himself. That was 2,500 years ago. Not now. Absolutely true, Lord. So as long as there are people, there will always be times when things like this happen. Hey, don't think this kind of thing still happens nowadays. When there are people, you talked about how frightening human nature can be. So true, my Lord. Back in those days, even 2,500 years ago, people were just like this, and today people are still the same. The kind of people that exist have always been around. So true, Lord. So just like there were bad things back then, there were also good things, and there still are now. Speaking from the good side, So what that Dhamma preacher did was try to make those two senior monks fall out so he could take the monastery for himself. If these two elders get along, it just won't work for him. When that didn't work one day, other day, I went to where each of them was spending their retreat separately. It is basically making assumptions based on what you think you see. And picking a fight doesn't always mean saying it outright. He went to see the head monk first, and then the venerable one. So, you two monks, you are close like brothers, right? Of course we're close. How many years have we been living together now? But, sir. And then I said, I didn't say anything else, sir. I just said, I am your disciple, bowed, and left. I wonder what the venerable one is thinking. What is it he wants to say to me? The next time I went back to the younger one, it was the same thing again. Venerable sir, the Crown Prince really admires you a lot. It is just that you are the one who is smiling. Oh, never mind, I won't say anything. When the monks take too long, they just leave it at that. The two venerable ones came wanting to find out. Then I went ahead and really pressed them with questions. When they pressed me, I told them what the venerable one said and what the other said. Before that, they'd been acting friendly with the venerable one. But once it came out, I told them straight. They say the two elders had a falling out. That is absolutely true, my Lord. After they fell out, they wouldn't even face each other. One walked out through the east gate and headed east. The other through the west gate and headed west. They turned their backs on each other and left. After many years, when those two elders met again, they discovered this elder's cunning, manipulative scheme, truly. That is how it was. That is what we call stirring up trouble. If two people are getting along, someone steps in between and starts stirring things up, spreading rumors, twisting what they see or hear, just to make them turn against each other. That is called pisunawasa. That is absolutely right, sir. If that kind of gossip or instigation were aimed at you, you wouldn't like it. And if you do something you don't like to others, they're not going to like it either. And that is why they say to avoid gossip. You should avoid it yourself, too. Encourage others as well. And they even praise, they speak words of praise for those who avoid gossip. 3 sides, 3 layers. Similarly, fusava speech means speaking in a harsh or rough manner. People, if someone talks to you in that kind of rough tone, even if it is not meant kindly, and their voice is harsh, you just don't like it. Tone down the swearing when you write. There are so many people who just can't stand it when someone talks to them in a harsh tone. So if he talks to me in that kind of blunt, harsh way, I really don't like it. I don't like it when someone curses at me. But when I get mad, I end up talking harshly too. Cursing as well. Cursing. When I say it, it kind of feels satisfying, So that thing too, just like earlier. Oh, why would I tell others about a job I don't like? If I don't like it, I figure they won't like it either. So I avoid it. Avoid it yourself, and also encourage others to avoid it, and praise the person who stays away from it. Small talk means saying pointless things and just wasting time. Yeah, if you come to me just to talk about pointless stuff and waste time, it'll only mess up work, mess up business, and be of no benefit at all. If you come to me with that kind of pointless talk just to waste my time, I don't like it. Just like I don't like it, he doesn't like it either. And when people start going around twisting things when they talk to others, it turns into that kind of situation where one person pushes to say something about someone, and another person pushes to say something about someone else. These are just bad habits. That is how we should see them. If people happen to run into each other, just watch and see. When two people run into each other, it is like, what started it? Did you already hear about it? That is the kind of thing that comes up, you know. They start off like, so did you hear about it already? That one also wants to know, like, what exactly it is. After talking, people are kind of forcing things. So, yeah, it started. So from there, one of them came out and who pulled that off in this neighborhood. If you were to say something like, wow, that is impressive. Oh, so you didn't know, and I didn't know either. And now you've come back with that. Well then, well, that is pretty good. But if you keep on talking, whatever's left might just turn into blame. When one person gives a compliment, there is always someone else trying to put you down. That is just talking about human nature, you know. So true, my goodness. They say that once that topic comes up and it starts involving speech, people tend to talk like that. If you are wondering just how far they went with what they were saying. When the two of them meet, they end up talking about that. That guy kept insisting, this guy kept insisting, and they just kept going on and on. When that guy left and he was alone, I even asked him, you know, and he said, yeah, you are just like me. He was the only one left. So he ended up taking all the heat. So yeah, I really don't like all this nonsense talk, and if I don't like it, he is not going to like it either. I just said, if you don't like something, don't do it. Now, this so-called vice or wrongdoing, I personally avoid it, and I also urge others to steer clear of it too. They even praise the person who avoids it. From the threefold, three-plan approach. So coming from the threefold, three-plan perspective, you end up avoiding idle chatter. The wrong kinds of speech have completely transformed into pure and wholesome speech. This is called basic wisdom. Just think about how good the attitude of a person with that kind of basic understanding would be, because they know such incredibly righteous truths. He doesn't take another person's life. He doesn't steal anyone's belongings. He doesn't commit adultery with someone else's spouse. He doesn't deceive others or do anything that would harm their interests. And he never insults their dignity. No cursing, no using harsh or rude language, and not wasting other people's time for no reason. That is what I am talking about. When dealing with others, he is completely upright and pure. From the moral conduct side, he is flawless. This is what is called the basic level of right understanding. Absolutely true, Lord. You can't afford to forget that basic level. So if you say you want to reach the path and fruition of Nibbana without these basic foundations, and do it in just a short time, well, it is not exactly going to be that short. So why is that? Because you are skipping the basics, right? Absolutely true, Lord. At the basic level, you need to keep a pure mind and a kind heart. That is what they call a pure mind and kind heart. So people tend to think that way. Most of the time they say so. They've even gone so far as to write papers and such. If you are good, then I am not bad. So saying if you are good, I am not bad, that doesn't really count as being a good person, you know. I was going to write it as, even if you are bad, I am not bad. Even if you are not good, I am good. That is what really completes it. Right now, just because he is doing well doesn't mean he is one of those truly good and capable people. Not yet. Because he is doing well, I am doing well too. If he is not doing well, then I won't be doing well either. So what I mean is, if you are going to be virtuous, you should be the kind of virtuous person who is truly good, so that someone who is not virtuous can become virtuous. I need to be good myself. The way of a virtuous person is that they don't follow along with others when they do wrong or act badly, right? Absolutely true, my goodness. That is why back in the day, an old layman who used to give Dhamma talks would often say this. I remember hearing it when I was young. They say, don't go calling yourself virtuous if you are not truly a good and noble person. Hey, so when you say, may you be a truly virtuous, noble one, that really means something. This guy, Absolutely right, Lord. Back in the time of the Blessed Buddha, there was a wealthy lady. She was really well known. Oh, what a kind heart, such a generous spirit. With the workers, with the house servants, right? At home, she treats the maids incredibly well. She is really kind-hearted, and that is why she is so well known. There is a well-known lady of the house from Thawati. She is kind, and that is what she is famous for. Kali, the woman working at her house, started thinking, since I am doing well, I thought I'd test whether she is genuinely kind or just pretending to be nice. One day, she just went ahead and took a nap. She slept in nice and late. When I was sleeping, the landlady came over and said, "Hey, Kali, why are you sleeping right now?" I said, "It is nothing at all." Her eyebrows furrowed right at that moment. She ended up judging. Yeah, I kept my cool. So she is actually a good person. She's got a temper, but since I kept my cool, that temper didn't flare up. It is pretty clear she's got a temper. To be extra sure, I told myself I'd check again the next day. But the next day came and I just went back to sleep again. While I was sleeping, they said, "Hey, why are you sleeping?" And I told them, nothing's wrong. That girl, someone said she was fat, and right there they started insulting her. On the first day, it was just a little swelling around the eye. But the next day they started insulting her. Oh, the things he has been keeping to himself, he is showing them now. And his temper is starting to flare. Then the next day when I went back to sleep, I was like, what was I even doing? Like, did you really have to go that far back then? You grabbed one of those iron rods used to bolt doors and swung it, hitting him in the head. My head split open and blood gushed out. So then Kali, my mistress, went out to the street and said, "You all say the lady of the house has such a good heart. Well, take a look. This woman split someone's head open and left them bleeding." And from that day on, so it turned out this landlady actually had a really nasty temper. And right there, the Blessed One used that little story as an example and said, right, don't be the kind of person who is only good because others are good. It means that even if others do wrong, you should still choose to do what is right. Scolding the monks. Yeah, just because you are living off the support from lay people, robes, alms bowls, and other requisites, doesn't mean it is okay to talk like this and make it easy to scold others. That is not the real truth. Just because you can give and things seem good doesn't mean it is truly good. Strive to be truly good. From deep inside your mind and heart, work to truly be at peace and let go of your anger. Don't let yourself be good only because others are behaving well. Take a moment to reflect on yourself too. If there is nothing to get upset about, nobody's going to get mad. If there is a reason to be mad and you still don't get angry, that is when you are truly virtuous. If someone's trying to make you mad and you still don't get angry, that is when you are truly a good person. It is not like you are virtuous just because your surroundings are good and you are doing fine. No matter what hardships or emotional struggles you face, no matter what makes you angry, you can still keep yourself from losing your temper. No matter what temptations or urges you encounter, you've got to be able to keep your greed in check. No matter what triggers your anger, you've got to be able to keep it under control. Being able to keep yourself in check like that is what they call a truly good person, a truly peaceful person in the truest sense. Because I've been keeping my cool, staying in a good place, not letting my emotions get dragged into fights, just staying calm. They think I am not acting because I am weak. Look, big trees get hit by the wind too. Big mountains get hit by the wind too. But when trees get hit by strong winds, don't they sway, loosen their roots, and end up getting blown away? Yes, it got blown away, sir. Mountains get hit by the wind too, but if you look at them, they don't move at all. So what is the difference? Well, the mountains have braced themselves and stand firm on their own. A storm like this, it is nothing. It won't cause any trouble at all. It means the trees don't have the same endurance as the mountains. So you've got to have resilience yourself. No matter what ups and downs life throws at you, you have to try to stay steady and unmoved. That is what it really means to be truly virtuous. You can't really protect yourself from outside blows. They're going to come anyway. When the Blessed One himself saw things with his own eyes, he saw both the unpleasant and the pleasant. What is bad is called an ani object, and what is good is called an ai object. When hearing sounds, you hear the unpleasant ones too, and you hear the pleasant ones as well. As for smells, even the bad smell right. You still catch it, and you also catch the good smell. When it comes to taste, you experience the bad flavors too, and you also experience the good ones. Physical contact also means coming into touch with unpleasant things and with pleasant things as well. But for ordinary people, what usually happens is, when we encounter something unpleasant, we get angry. When we encounter something pleasant, we become greedy. Whether it is good or bad that we experience it is the same. The Buddha experiences it, we experience it. The experience itself is the same. For the Buddha, there is no greed and no anger. As for the Arahants, they don't feel greed and they don't feel anger. So what is the difference? It is the level of insight into the Dhamma that is different. Because they stand firm with the strength of Dhamma awareness, the mental fortitude of the Buddha. And the Arahants is like a mountain, no matter how fierce the storm. It won't shake or move them. This is exactly what is said in the Mangala Sutta. Fattasa lokadame sita yasana kampati. That is what it means. Absolutely true, Venerable Sir. If people around you are just flattering you, and that is why you are feeling good, well, that is not real goodness, is it? Right? Only someone you just can't make angry no matter what you do. That is who you'd call truly good. Yeah, and that is why people who truly understand the Dhamma aren't shaken by the ups and downs of the world. No matter what in this big world, the ups and downs of life will always be there. You are bound to experience both the good and the bad. At that moment when you are going through it, someone who has trained their mental resilience doesn't need anything else to stand firm. They can hold their ground with just that mindset. If you ever come face to face with the ups and downs of life, the Buddha gave a little example. There is also a piece of advice he left us. In the Brahmajala Sutta, what did the Buddha say? In this world, people just can't stand being insulted. I just can't stand being criticized. When someone insults me, I get angry. But if someone praises you, you just keep grinning, right? That is what they call not being able to handle the ways of the world. The Buddha advised that if someone criticizes you, don't get upset. If someone comes along and criticizes you and puts you down, don't get upset. Rule number 1, don't get upset. If you get angry, you're only harming your own peace of mind. You are putting your own wisdom in danger. If someone insults you and you get angry about it, they won't even realize whether what they said was right or wrong, or what consequences it might have. See, that is why the Buddha says, don't get angry. When you get angry, you can't tell what is good or bad or understand the cause and effect. So then, if you are wondering what you should do, if they praise you or criticize you, if someone accuses you of something and you know it is not true, just take it to heart and remind yourself it is not true. If it is not true, just address it as not true. That is what the Buddha means. Instead of getting upset, just clear things up by saying it is not true. If it is not true. Resolving it means whether they believe you or not, you still have to openly say that it wasn't you. In that situation, if it is just insults, there is no need to respond. But if it is an accusation, you've got to clear it up. If it is just insults, there is no need to explain yourself. My own virtue of patience. Patience means having the strength and ability to keep your mind calm and undisturbed. That is what we call patience. So true, Venerable Sir. These days, patience is taken to mean not talking back. But inside you are boiling with anger. That is not real patience. Hey, I might not talk back, but my lips are tight with tension. Inside, I am really not okay with it. It is slowly building up inside. That is not patience. Patience is the strength and ability to keep that little smile in your heart from fading. Your own heart that is truly joyful, that original, delighted heart, if it stays unmoved, even when outside influences press in. That is what we call patience. Absolutely right, Lord. The true essence of patience is, so when monks explain Kanti to foreigners from a doctrinal point of view, in Burmese we usually translate it as patience. From a doctrinal point of view, it is basically a kind of mental ability, the ability to maintain a normal mental state. It is about being able to keep your mind in its normal state. See, if you ask what normal means, it is like two friends sitting together, chatting and laughing until they're out of breath. Then someone comes over, kicks one of them, and leaves. These two people, well, all that old joking and laughing is gone now. Whoa, they blew up in anger, saying this guy was being rude. Really, so they've lost their temper. The original state has fallen apart. What used to be normal has turned abnormal. That is what it means. That is not actually patience, you know. Patience means the mental ability to truly keep your mind in its original state. And that is how we should understand it. Yeah, first of all, you have to keep these things in check with mindfulness. If you can do that, these mental strengths can arise and grow within yourself. That is how we should see it. Oh, the mindset of someone with true understanding of the Dhamma and someone without it is completely different. Absolutely true, Lord. The mindset of a person with true understanding is vastly different. Back in the time of the Blessed Buddha, when it reached a stage higher than this, just look. When you come to know a truth that is on a higher level than this, there was a village called Hathi. In that village called Hathi, there was a rich man named Uka. Back then, that rich man wasn't a Buddhist. He didn't know the teachings at all. Since he didn't know the Dhamma, he drank, feasted, enjoyed himself, just an ordinary man. When the Blessed One came to the Gangar forest, the first time they met was at the Nagavana garden in that forest. That is where he first went to see the Buddha. At that time, what was he doing? He was drunk. That man named Ukaya was drunk. Absolutely true, Lord. In today's terms, he was like a wealthy guy with a car from a big fancy house, He went into the garden, had some drinks, and was sitting there drunk. He was hanging out drinking with his friends. When he saw the Buddha, his whole mindset changed. The moment he saw the Buddha, a feeling of deep reverence arose in his heart, and his drunkenness instantly faded. He didn't know the teachings yet at that moment. Once the drunken haze lifted, he thought to himself that he'd met a noble monk, another noble monk, and a gentle joy filled his heart. So he went over to the Buddha, and as he approached, the alcohol had worn off. When he sat down to listen, the Buddha began to teach him. When the Blessed Ones give a sermon, they always follow the same sequence of teachings whenever they start addressing someone. When they begin a talk, they usually start with the topic of generosity. Well, that is absolutely right, Venerable. Dana discourse means that in this world people live within society. You shouldn't eat alone, you should share and enjoy with everyone. That is what the Dana discourse is about. Absolutely right, sir. Absolutely right, sir. If you keep it all to yourself, it is like the water in a pond guarded by an ogre. No creature can drink from it. Anyone who tries will be caught and punished. And then all this water will just dry up for nothing. Same thing, some people own things but don't use them themselves and won't let anyone else use them either. When they die, it just sits there like that. We can't let that kind of thing happen. We should share with everyone. Some people are so miserly, they don't just hold back from others. They even hold back from themselves. Have you heard there are stories about that? Those miserly rich folks won't even eat their own food. He wanted to eat some fried banana fritters, but he didn't say anything because he was afraid others might come over. So he just held back. Hey, the rich man wanted some fried banana fritters. When he saw them by the roadside, even though he wanted to eat, he held back. The reason is, if there are fried banana fritters, he is afraid everyone will crowd around to eat them. He is holding back because he is afraid he'll have to give some to others. So if that kind of miserliness gets really strong, people won't even let themselves eat. They won't use their possessions either. It tends to happen like that. So to prevent that kind of thing from happening, the Blessed One taught the discourse on generosity. We should share with each other. Don't just use it all by yourself. Charity and things like that, right? Those kinds of things should exist. There should be generosity and things like that. You've got to give to others to share with them. As for your family, well, they're your family. You should give to your friends too. Give to the people you should. The ones who truly deserve it, don't hold back. This is the teaching on generosity. And then there is the moral conduct teaching, the Sailakatha, which says, you must never compromise your ethics. When you are born into human life, you need to have good morals. You have to live well to become a virtuous, good person. It all starts with good morals. No matter how much generosity you practice, if you don't have moral discipline, you still can't be called truly virtuous. So to encourage people to live with good moral conduct, the Buddha gave the Sailakatha discourse. All right, with generosity and moral discipline, your conduct is already good. You also share with others. A person who doesn't keep everything just for themselves will find it is not hard to reach a good and fortunate realm. The celestial realm, how abundant it is. The Blessed One's teaching about how prosperous a good heavenly life can be is called the Sakakath. That is how the Blessed One would teach at the basic level when people start taking an interest in doing good deeds. Once people start getting interested, they begin to want to reach the celestial realm. When they become fascinated with that blissful existence, the Blessed One. Yes, sensual pleasures are extremely dangerous. They only last for a moment. They're like a dream. Sensual pleasures are just like a dream. A dream, once you wake up, it is over. There is nothing left, right? So true, Lord. Just like in a dream, right? You are living like a king in a grand palace, but the moment you wake up, there is nothing left. You are back in your little hut again. No matter how good it feels in the dream, the moment you wake up, it is all gone. Sensual pleasure is like a dream. The nature is just the same. Another thing, sensual pleasure is like a beef bone. The butcher, after slaughtering the cow, takes off the bits of meat stuck to the bone and tosses away the beef bone. The dog that has been waiting nearby grabs it and spends the whole day licking it, then biting it, licking again, biting again, savoring every tiny taste, and just that faint smell, that is all it gets. And then once it is all gone, the dog's teeth start aching, and in the end it can't chew anything, so it just has to toss it away. Sensual pleasure is just like that. It is like that beef bone. That is exactly right, Lord. It has just got a bit of coating on the outside, but there is no real flavor at all. Just a faint smell, sniff, 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 and then it is gone, nothing left. That is what I mean. Yes, when the Blessed One spoke about the faults of sensual pleasures, that is called the Kamanam Trinavakathi, the discourse on the danger in sensual pleasures. As long as you can't let go of those things, you'll have to live carrying sorrow in your heart. Only when you let them go will you find peace. That is called the discourse on the benefits of renunciation. If you completely let go of all that total freedom, just like King Badia, the moment he gave it all up, ahosaka, only then did he truly find peace. The Blessed One spoke about the kinds of things that can be let go. This is called the 5 kinds of discourses. That is absolutely right, Lord. Only after delivering those 5 kinds of discourses did people's minds become calm. And only when they were ready to truly grasp this Dhamma did the Blessed One. He spoke about the processes of natural law. When the teaching was given, the person listening to the Dhamma understood it. His mind was cleansed of all impurities, and he gained a clear vision, a whole new way of seeing. That insight was a realization that whatever arises due to a cause will also cease. He came to know this for himself. So then nothing lasts, nothing I've gained will last. If you can think that way and see things like that, is there anything you can't let go of? No, Lord, there isn't. Do you still have the urge to dominate others? No, Lord, not anymore. No, not anymore. Once you realize you'll have to leave everything behind, and that everything which arises will also cease one day. If you can hold that thought close to your heart, your attachments will start to fade. When attachments and infatuations fade, sorrows also fade away. You'll be able to truly experience peace of mind. So the Dhamma I means that just now, when the Blessed One gave that teaching in 5 parts, at that very moment, UKK, the elder layman, gained this insight. The moment he realized it, he understood. I am going to uphold moral conduct. He was a married man. So then, the 5th precept of the Brahmacharya means that among the 5 precepts, he no longer commits sexual misconduct. He is now keeping both the Brahmacharya and the 5 precepts. See, you can actually keep both the Brahmacharya precept and the 5 precepts. Look at that. That is really true, Lord. They say he's keeping both the Brahmacharya precept and the 5 precepts. So this rule about sexual misconduct means you are not doing anything wrong with someone else's spouse, but with your own partner. Well, that is allowed. When you live a celibate life, you can't have anything like that at all. That is absolutely true, Lord. You'd call that a celibate life. Right? Oh, so he switched over to that kind of life. See, he has got a good grasp of the teachings. He used to be a wealthy man, you know. I heard he has got 4 wives, married to 4 wives, and those 4 are all pretty young too. Yeah, so when he got back home, what he said was he called his wives over and spoke to them. Starting today, because I've come to understand the Dhamma, I am no longer going to live caught up in sensual desires. I've taken on the vow of celibacy along with the 5 precepts. And I am committed to keeping them. Hey, I am not going to live the married life anymore. If any of you still want to keep living in this house, you can. If you don't want to stay, you can always move to another house. Take everything you want. And if you ever want to get married again, just tell me who you want to marry. And among them, it was his youngest wife who spoke up. She said, you can marry whoever you want. Look at just how good that person's attitude was. The kind of mindset someone with real wisdom has. So his youngest wife, right, at that age, he married her off to the man he mentioned. He personally went and arranged the marriage. And when he did that, he didn't feel even the slightest bit of hesitation. He didn't have a change of heart at all. It means his decision was final, no turning back. Why was that? Well, it was because of his insight into the truth, right? Absolutely true, Lord. His wisdom has reached a really advanced level now. Reaching this stage means they've advanced to a really high level. There really was someone who reached this level after listening to the Buddha's teachings. And then just like that, when he gave up his married life, he didn't become a monk, he stayed a lay person. And that man went on too. So after he gave up his married life, when he approached the monks, he never did it casually or without respect. He always approached them with deep reverence. Whichever monk he went to, he always approached with deep respect. See, that is one of his qualities. Next time he went to see the monks, if the head monk gave a sermon, then fine. But if he didn't, he'd be the one giving the sermon himself. Che asked for my number and then never came back. If you go to see the monk, you only talk about Dhamma. When the monk gives a sermon, he listens respectfully, He doesn't even talk about business matters when he goes to the monastery. If there is a sermon, he listens. If the monk is speaking, he listens respectfully. But if the monk isn't speaking, then he is the one who gives the sermon. So in a situation like that, he was watching to see how the mindset of a person with wisdom would change. Later on one day, he invited the monks to come and receive alms. While he was offering alms to the monks, his household guardian spirit came and spoke to him. Which venerable one is an arahant, and which venerable one is a satpana? One of them was at the anagami stage, another one didn't even keep the precepts. That is what the spirit said when it came. But in his mind there was absolutely no such distinction. If they were monks, he would invite them, no matter who they were. He never thought, I'll give more to this person and less to that one. See, that is also something worth keeping in mind. If he has truly come to understand the Dhamma, he won't be picking and choosing people anymore. Picking and choosing people like that just shows their understanding of the Dhamma is still weak. If it is a Sangha, he is in a position to treat them equally. He is not the kind of person who'd say, if it is an arahant, I'll only give to the arahant, and I won't give to anyone who is not an arahant. That is just not how he is. He doesn't do that thing where people crowd around just because someone's an arahant. He is not into that kind of behavior. Even when the spirits come and say things like this to him, it doesn't shake him up inside at all. Another thing is, even if the spirits come to him and give him these warnings or whatever, even if they say they're protecting him, he never gets proud or full of himself. Even talking with spirits doesn't change anything in his mind. That is what they say. He never treats people with good morals any differently when it comes to his possessions. He just gives equally to everyone, right? That is truly admirable, Lord. When offering alms, sometimes you see people separating things, like, for example, the Thai pork is for the Thai monk, and the boiled beans are for another monk. They tend to split things up like that and do it that way. They said that person doesn't do it like that. Apparently he treats everyone equally and gives the same to all. Never give more to one person and less to another, because the way you feel about each person ends up becoming really different. Yeah, that is how it is supposed to be. He said he is not going to do this kind of belittling or bias choosing anymore. That is so true, Lord. That is how, when this lay follower named Dukkha came to understand the Dhamma, his mindset and attitude changed like this. So, in the end, if he made any kind of announcement, it would be, if he were to pass away first, the Blessed One would tell him, would declare it to him. The Blessed One would say that this Yukaika will never again return to sensual pleasures or the sensual realm. Well, it is because he has already reached the stage of an anagami. Just like that. Absolutely right, Venerable. Reaching the anagami stage means completely cutting off all sensual desires and attachments. So that is why he gave up married life, because he had reached the anagami stage, yes. That is absolutely right, sir. Once you become a Sottipana, those wrong views and doubts are just not there anymore. There is no mistaken view, no skepticism. And when it comes to the Dhamma, from then on greed, anger, and delusion might still arise, but they won't be as strong as before. He still gets angry sometimes, but it is toned down now. He doesn't blow up at people or lash out the way he used to. Sure, he might still feel like getting mad, but he doesn't get so mad that he starts cursing people out anymore. A Satpana can control their mind like that. Even if greed arises, it is never the kind of greed that could drag them down to hell. They no longer experience the kind of greed that leads to the lower realms. Once he reached the stage of a Sakadami, compared to when he was a Satpana, greed would only arise maybe once out of 10 times. And anger would come up only about once in 100 times. The intensity of the anger that comes up is just a tiny bit for him. It is barely noticeable. There is still just a tiny bit left. It might just be like a little flash of heat inside the mind. I don't think it would even make your mouth move anymore. It is not like your eyes glaring or your face tightening up or that kind of anger where your skin starts trembling. It doesn't get to that level anymore. That is so true, my Lord. And as for the mouth, that kind of harsh, hurtful talk is far gone. Picking fights with others is far gone too. His anger had become so subtle that people around him wouldn't even notice. That is what it is like if you've reached the Sakadagami stage. They say that once you reach the Anagami stage, you won't feel even the slightest anger rising in your heart anymore. Not even the tiniest flare-up will come up. They say, that is so true, Lord. The feeling of dissatisfaction is completely gone. All sensual desires and impulses have also completely cleared away, letting go step by step like that. Once someone becomes an arahant, all defilements are completely gone. For someone who truly understands the Dhamma, their mindset rises higher and higher. And in the human world, these individuals are the most peaceful, the most free in spirit, and they experience genuine eternal peace and happiness right here in this very life. So by observing and reflecting on the mindset of those individuals, you can see just how peaceful and fulfilled they are. And it is really worth imitating and putting into practice. Therefore, dear devoted followers who love the Dhamma, let us strive to cultivate the kind of mindset found in those with true wisdom. Each of us should reflect in our own hearts and make the effort so that we can truly practice and persevere. Well done, well done, well done. All right then, let's send out some loving kindness. Countless living beings. May countless living beings be safe from harm, free from harm. May you all be blessed with prosperity. May you all be blessed with prosperity. Cool waters of loving kindness. Gentle waters of loving kindness. Pour and sprinkle. Pour and sprinkle. May you all be at peace. May you all be at peace. Long life and good health. Long life and good health. With peace of mind. Peace of mind. May all your wishes come true. May all your wishes come true.